Welcome to Shorty's SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? Taking a look at the Cats. My beloved Geelong Footy Club. Premiers. Shorty's had a great year. But look, in terms of SuperCoach, though, pretty even team. A lot of established players. Not necessarily too many that could break out. Not necessarily too much value. There's a few players I want to talk about. Literally three. I think a lot of the main change in Geelong is no Joel Selwood, who will sort of step up and take those midfield points. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. But thanks for your support upon the return. I'm right back in the swing of things, which is great. You know, it's early. It's early for SuperCoach, I understand. But I like to get the content out going nice and quickly and nice and early because, hey, those people that start to get a bit of whiff of SuperCoach and get their ears pricked by it throughout January and February where we really start to get into it, Shorty's got a bit of a catalogue of content for you, so that's what we like to do. So, yeah, but if you've been on board already, I really appreciate all the comments and all the support so far. If you're new to the channel, g'day, what's going on? Feel free to comment below. Any questions or any players you think I might have missed with the Cats, time-stamped as always. But we've only got a few players to talk about, so let's fill the time out with a few things that's been going on in Shorty's life. It's a late night session on the old recording. What are we, 20 to 12? Whatever. It is what it is. Sometimes Shorty records in the daylight with the blaring sun coming through that window. Sometimes it's late at night. And I'm the only one home, actually, which is very unusual. People off at festivals and night shift, all sorts of stuff. But a couple of little funny things that have happened recently. I've joined a new tennis club, which I might have mentioned. But, been playing in a new tennis club, which has been great. Had a tennis breakup the other week, and it's not a long story, but it was amusing at the time. Me and a mate, Cov, who watches this channel, he's in the old tennis team, and we were rocking up to the tennis breakup and weren't exactly sure what we were in for. We were told, a few people from the club get around it, a few juniors at the start of the thing, but, BYO, bring your grog, let's get stuck into it. It's pretty low-key tennis club, sort of like country sort of club, pretty small. So, started at 7, me and my mates, pre-drinking, let's get stuck into it. Cov's got a big box of Canadian clubs. I've got two bags of grog, cruisers and bloody Canadian clubs as well, looking like right alcoholics. And we're kitted up too. Look like we're going straight to town. Wanted to look fresh, make a good impression. Anyway, we drive up, our mate's dropping us off, and we drive up. And it's always funny when you're going to a place for the first time or like an event with new people for the first time. And we roll in there, park around the side, and walk around the building because you sort of have to enter from the car park a little bit around the building. And we come around the corner, and we're just two blokes ready to sink piss. And there's about 25 junior tennis players doing a tennis quiz. I'm looking around, there's about maybe 3 or 4 adults in amongst like mums and stuff like that. There were a bunch of mums that were with the kids, but people who I thought I was going to drink with, about 3 or 4. And we're just sort of standing there awkwardly. I'm talking like anywhere from 8 to 14. I'm like, this isn't the greatest first impression. We're getting raw looks from the mums. I'm like, hey, I just thought this was a piss up, but what time is it? Anyway, the kid's going soon. But yeah, it wasn't that awkward really, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, whoa, shit, did not expect to walk into this. Me and Cov just sort of stand there like, yeah, so you going out tonight or anyway? But no, we made it work. Thankfully the quiz was nearly over. They hit some tennis balls, ran around, tired themselves out, and nicked off. And, we just cracked a drink. I mean, you probably shouldn't be drinking in front of a bunch of junior tennis players, but didn't know what to do. And the other day, we went Christmas light looking as well. Went in Caitlin's car, and we got a little ice cream. Augustus, great place. Knew a couple of lads there. They say g'day. So what's going on, guys? Appreciate the support. Anyway, I got this chunky chocolate brownie ice cream. Amazing stuff. It's my favourite. It's my absolute go-to. I should probably branch out, but it's reliable. Anyway, just get it in the cup. Normally a cone guy, but got it in the cup. And I'm in the back seat. Jonah's in the front. Caitlin's driving. And we're looking at Christmas lights. Going great. Ice cream's melting a bit. No worries. Nice texture. It's great, you know. But obviously we're driving around in darkness, really. And I'm in the back seat, and I'm sort of, you know, the pissy little spoons they give you when you've got an ice cream? Like, I'm talking like, it's basically a stick. Like, it barely comes out. I need a round spoon to control this, and they give you nothing. Anyway, I'm in the back seat, just like eating this ice cream in the darkness. It's great. And I get towards the end portion, and I can sense, like, I can feel just a big chunky bit of brownie right in the middle. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. But it's hard to control. It's hard to maneuver, particularly in the darkness. Not exactly sure what's melted and what's not, what brownie and what's not. So I've really gone for it after fiddling around for a bit. I've gone for it. Tried to go one scoop, bang, straight in the mouth. I've mistimed it, flicked it. Caitlin doesn't know this either. I've flicked the chunky brownie bit. It's rolled down my shirt, on my pants, and onto the seat. And I panicked. I thought, fuck. Not only is this, I can't leave it there, but it's the best bit of the fucking ice cream. So I've just grabbed it straight in. No regard for anything that was on the seat. I could have inhaled anything. It was a risk, but it tasted good. I'm pretty sure I escaped. But still unsure the state of the car. I said, anyone got some paper towel or wet wipes? Caitlin's like, oh yeah, I got some wet wipes. Your hand's sticky. Yeah. Yeah, my hands. And the ice cream that's all over your back seat. But anyway, I just wiped it up as best I could. Didn't look at it again. So Caitlin, if you're watching, which is probably unlikely, I hope your car's all right. But anyway, let's straighten up, shall we? That wasn't meant to be 2 long stories. I'd find a way to turn short stories into long stories, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I apologise for wasting what was probably 6 to 8 minutes of your life. 8 minutes of your life. My apologies. I'm going to stop this recording and then get into some actual SuperCoach. Oh, jeez. Some actual SuperCoach chat. This is what you get with Late Night Shorty. Okay, let's straighten things up, shall we? Let's straighten things up. Let's talk footy. Let's talk business. Let's really get serious now. Geelong, of course, made a lot of changes throughout the pre-season. And I will talk about Bruin and Bose in particular. I know I've only got Bose in that discussion. I don't have Bruin in there because I think being pure midfield, really awkward price. I just don't see him as SuperCoach relevant. But like I said at the start of the video, I think he's definitely a guy who could benefit from taking some points where Selwood will leave that spot open. But it could be anyone. That is definitely up for grabs. It could be Parfitt just plays in there more. It could be Bose. It could be a range of players. But before we talk about that, let's talk about Tommy Stewart. And I think he is as good as a lock, to be honest. And he had an indifferent year last year, didn't he? I mean, Tiger supporters, I'm so sorry what he did to your boy Dion. But look, he had a strange old year. You know, he missed all that footy after copping a serious suspension, which was warranted. And then, you know, he even had some games where he burnt us against the Saints. 48. Outrageous scenes, which I can only presume. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he got subbed off. That's right. Because I remember, okay start to the year. 97, 187. Fucking brutal. I was going to get him, then I couldn't after that. And then I thought, another few weeks, and then I thought, look, 74, 113, 122, he's starting to come down in price. Then he hit a 174 on me, and I thought, fuck it. I just got to bring this guy in. I can't wait for him to come down. He keeps pumping out 150 pluses. Brought him in and scores 39 after being subbed off. It just kills you sometimes. And that 48, I don't know, he must have missed. No, he didn't. Wow. I've got maybe... It feels like a Ben Long sort of tagging job, doesn't it? Not sure, but for whatever reason, it was not a good round there against the Saints. And yeah, ended the year solidly. But what I'm trying to say is it was a strange year for Stewart, but it still produced his highest ever average of 109 with a sub-affected 39 or whatever I said before. Outstanding player. I didn't think he had that ceiling in him to produce a 161, a 174 and a 187, but he intercept marks, he kicks, just crucial in the point scoring system. So you're not going to do much better than picking Tommy Stewart right out of the James Sicily mould, as good as each other. They do it all. They're sort of the leader of the back line, and I don't really need to talk too much about it to you. I think he's a great selection. I'd rather spend a little bit more time discussing this man. Jack Bowes. Now, 277k, available as a defender. And I think he's the sort of guy that this is a big watch for the preseason. He could easily just be playing VFL. He could be playing halfback flank. Or he could be playing midfield, which is where he wants to play. Now, as we can see, he's had some nice averages in the past, an 84, an 82. I reckon this 84 he started like a house on fire, halfback flank style. Nah, wasn't that one. Although he started all right, 93, 99, 94, 90. Yeah, gee, he actually started all right, but I reckon it must have been last year. There were some big scores he started the year with. Yeah, last year. Sorry, 2021. 146, 114, 95, 107, slight down, 92, 110, 93. So he's on fire. So he can definitely play as a halfback flanker, but I'm sure, and it's been said, he wants opportunity in that midfield. Now, it's a pretty hard midfield to break into, but like I said, Selwood leaves. There's absolute opportunity for him. And that's not to say someone like Menegola can't snap it up, or Holmes will be on a wing. Can that push someone else in the middle? There's a lot of options that don't have to come from Bruin or Bowes, but keep him on your watch list. I just wanted to put him out there. He's relatively awkwardly priced, but if he's best 22 for Geelong, he's a real good chance to average 85 plus. Again, if that's midfield role, 85-90 is not ridiculous because he's done 84 already. It's not a crazy jump. So if he's a defender, sort of halfback flanker, I think he'll get a bit of the peel, but it all depends on the role. It really does. But keep an eye on him. He's worth mentioning. Mark Blicavs, random role, isn't it? Look at this. Was a defensive ruck last year. Now he's a mid-ruck. Really transformed that role. Never really seen it before, this type of a player and the position he plays. And it just couldn't be ignored what he did. He's had some really good years before, more so as a midfielder. But last year was outrageous, and he had some hot streaks. He can be thrown all over the place a little bit, and that's reflective in his numbers. You look at these hit-out numbers, they change quite drastically in the role he can play, but he's a tackling machine. He's good overhead, really mobile, which you can see the amount of times that he gets 20-plus possessions for a bloke who is as tall as he is, and he's a big fella. But he can rack up a fair bit of the ball. He'll play that same role. Him and Stanley will combine. Sometimes Blicavs will take the ruck. Sometimes he'll tag. Sometimes he'll just be on ball. He'll be a transition runner at times. So he does a lot. I couldn't really say I'd want to pick him. I just think there's probably better options. But, he gives you some good flexibility with the dual position action. But we are paying a pretty solid price for him now. So I wouldn't sort of sit here and say, yeah, he's a lock. But that role was SuperCoach friendly, so he's going to be doing it again. So definitely, if you want someone a bit different, Blicavs is your guy, but probably just makes me a bit worried that he is the Mr. Fix-It. He's so flexible that depending what happens, Geelong gets an injury, he could play key back at some stage of the year. He could play inside mid at stages of the year. He could just out-and-out ruck and get really beaten on some times. Like, I've seen him get smashed in the ruck as well. His best position is when he can ruck a little bit, but mainly follow up and get those tackles and join in the play with a few handballs and that type of thing. But he's a unique player, very important to the Cats, and super unique option, so someone to keep in mind. But that's all I have for the Cats. I only had 3 players, and I mean, if you've got a couple out there that you reckon worth a mention, then feel free to chuck it in there. But as good as they are, they're a pretty even team, and not necessarily a side that, you know, you scream at. You know, last year we had Duncan and Dangerfield, who are a bit more relevant to Conning. At this stage, as good a side as the Cats are, maybe not as many fantasy relevant types just yet. But we'll see how the preseason develops. Feel free to let me know if I missed anyone. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. We'll have the previews coming up in the next couple of days as well. Cheers, guys.